Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inshallah, in this lesson we're going to finish up our section on the asma that are mabni. We're still looking at the ism and how the ism works, and we talked about the ism can be either ma'rab or mabni. The asl, the normal way for it to be, is ma'rab, that it changes depending on the role it's playing in the sentence. But we have some exceptions to that. Words that don't change the symbols at the end of the word depending on what role they're playing in the sentence, those words are called mabni. And inshallah today we're going to look at the last few types of ism that are mabni. The important thing here is that you just kind of have this in mind, these categorizations. You'll get more familiar with them and which words fall into these categories as we go along, but just be familiar with this categorization a little bit. First we have the asma wal istifham, the nouns or the isms. Asma is plural of ism. Asma wal istifham. Istifham means of asking, like asking a question. Literally it means seeking fahm, seeking of understanding. So these are basically words that when you put them at the beginning of a sentence, it turns the sentence into a question. So we have men, meaning who. So for example, if you said men fa'ala hadha, who did this, it's a question. It would always be men. It's not sometimes menu, sometimes mena, sometimes many. Always men with the sukun, mabni ala sukun. Then we have ma, what. So if you said ma hadha, what is this, will always be ma. Ayu also can mean what, like which. If you said ayu shay'in hadha, which thing is this, or what kind of thing is this. Aina, meaning where. Now keep in mind, these words can be used in other ways, right? So it's not that all men will always be used for asking a question, but it depends on the way you used it in the sentence. So aina just means where. So sometimes even it can be part of a conditional statement, but by the context when it's for istifham. Like if you said Aina Zayd, where is Zayd, then it's obviously a question. Kam, how many. So if you said Kam kitaban indak, how many books do you have. Kaifa, how. So like when people greet each other, they say Kaifa haluk, how is your state. Anna is similar to kaifa, meaning how or in which way or from where. Mata, meaning when. And ayana is also kind of similar to aina. It's not so important that you memorize these right now, but just know that the asma al-istifham, the nouns for asking a question, will always be mabni. And likewise, asma al-shart, the nouns of conditional, making a conditional statement. So that can be some examples. Also, men, you can say, for example, man yadrus yanjah. Whoever yadrus studies, yanjah, will be successful, right? So when this man comes here for being a condition, whoever fulfills this condition that they study, they will be successful. That's always mabni. Likewise, ma can come for making a condition. Mahma, meaning like whatever. Mata, when. Aina, also for where, can come for conditional statement, like in the Quran. Aina ma takunu yudrikkumul maut. Wherever you may be, death will reach you. Also we have asma'ul af'al, the isms that represent the af'al, verbs. So basically what this means is a word that technically is an ism, but it has the meaning of an action. We won't go into detail with that right now, but inshallah when we come across examples we'll explain it more. But just know that there's this thing called ism fi'al the ism, you know, it's an ism, but it acts like a fi'l, it acts like a verb. Just know that it exists and it's mabni, and we'll learn more about it in detail when we come across it. And similarly, something we don't really need to go into too much detail about, asma'ul aswat, the nouns that represent voices. This is basically either a like a voice somebody makes to an animal to tell it hurry up or something, or when somebody's imitating the voice of an animal. You know, that's not a very common thing, but that will always be mabni because it's treated like an actual word in the language, but a word that's mabni. Then also we have al-murakkabat, words that are made up of more than one word and put together in a way such that they're treated like one word. So you take two different words and then you put them together and treat it like it's one word. And the most common example of that is in numbers, like ahada ashara, 11 will always be ahada ashara. That will make more sense as we go into when we learn about numbers. But just know that a word that is murakkab, it's two different words put together to make one word and then treat it like one word, that's going to be mabni. Kinayat, we'll wait to discuss that. The one that's going to be important for us is al-dhuruf. So the word dhuruf is plural of dharf. And a dharf literally means a container. So if you think about any action that is done, it's going to need a container, meaning it's going to be contained either in time or space. So that's the way you can remember that a dharf is a word that indicates either the time or the place that that something is done in. So dhuruf are going to be mabni. So examples of that are idha, when, or idh also means when. Lamma, in a way, also kind of means when. Aina, where. So you see aina here, it can come, it's always mabni, but it can be used for asking a question. It can be used for as a conditional, qualifier, or it can be used as a dharf, as basically what would be a preposition in the English language. Mata, when, also can be used for as a shart, as a conditional qualifier, but it can also be a dharf. Mundu, since, this time. Lada, with or close to. Ladun, also a similar meaning. Ams, yesterday. Important thing to know is that dhuruf are those things that are those words that are indicating the time or place of something are going to be mabni. So today's lesson, just to finish, the things that are mabni, just keep in mind, you don't have to really know. We'll learn more which words are in which categories as we come across them. But just know that the asma'ul istifham, nouns for asking questions, will always be mabni. Asma'ul shart, the nouns for making a conditional statement, will always be mabni. The asma'ul af'al, those isms that are technically, they're isms, but they do the action of a fi'l, of a verb, those will be mabni. Asma'ul aswat, any word that's imitating the voice of an animal or is a voice that a human does to speak to an animal. For example, a man's trying to get his horse to hurry up. These things will be mabni. Murakkabat, any word that is actually two words put together and then treated as one word, that's going to be mabni. And then also know dhuruf would be mabni, those words that indicate the time and place of an action.